Good evening, everyone. I'm your East Coast Weather Authority meteorologist, Alexander Bielfeld. And let's look at our upper air pattern right now. You can see that we do have this trough in the west that actually is bringing snow to these places in Idaho, Montana, Washington, and parts of Oregon. Some of these places are actually under a winter weather advisory, and it's not even September yet. In the east, though, we are experiencing an upper level ridge, which is helping bring temperatures into the 90s in many places across the eastern U.S. One last shot for summer. Looking closer, looking at the continent, the lower 48, we can see a few showers popping up over the Gulf states and a few showers in the Virginias right now. But those showers will dissipate as we head in through overnight tonight and through the day tomorrow. So let's get right into your forecast for tomorrow. Waking up tomorrow, you can see mostly dry skies for most of the region, but we could see a few scattered showers along the immediate coast. And as we time it out, looking into the afternoon, you can see a few pop-up showers actually are possible in the same areas that we saw today in the Virginias and parts of North Carolina. But otherwise, they will dissipate, and we're in for a very hot, humid, and hazy day ahead as we have temperatures soaring back up into the upper 80s and near 90. DC, you might hit the mid 90s tomorrow. We're using the NAM 3K. It's a very good high resolution model that really understands the geographical features that go into temperatures. Well, when will this pattern break, and will we ever get cool again? Well, looking at the upper air pattern, this is for days 1 through 5. You can see that the ridge continues to persist over the East Coast, and that's going to continue over the next few days as we are expecting September to be pretty warm. What this does, though, this ridge, it does allow for tropical disturbances to make their way into the Gulf of Mexico, which is what we are going to be watching as we head into the peak of hurricane season. The peak is September 10th, and I do expect the tropics to wake up as we head into the late next week. But let's get to the winter, and because we have been stressing our winter forecast, and one of the things that we look at are sea surface temperatures, and what we have been looking at is this warm anomalous water temperature over the East Coast. And what that does, it tends to put more water vapor into the air. And what that does is creates a trophy pattern for the southeast and east coast. And that's going to play a big role into what we expect temperature-wise and even snow-wise. But another big role is this right here. This is what we call ENSO. You can see that we're very warm, and and we're heading into a weak El Nino, but that still means that we could get cooler and wetter times along the southeast coast. Now, some of the research that we have been doing that is going into this is reanalysis actually from recorded weak to moderate El Ninos from 1950 on to the present day. Now you can see this is the upper air pattern, so you can see geopotential height, we can see very trophy pattern. Notice this up here in Greenland. This is what we actually experienced in March this past March, this big ridge which helped block the pattern, and that's honestly what we are expecting to happen yet again, but not just for a whole month. We are expecting that to be persistent throughout the winter. Now, here's another one that we did. This one is data from past 1980. The only reason we did it twice is because data maybe before 1980 could have been a little sparse, so we did do another one. You can see, again, that ridge over Greenland. You can see the trophiness over the East Coast, and look at this big ridge over here. We'll get more in depth in that in a few days, and we'll talk about why we are expecting this pattern to be very persistent throughout our winter. Look at the temperatures for the years that had weak to moderate El Ninos. You can see very cold along the eastern U.S., but look at that warm over the west, and we'll talk more about that coming up later on why we believe that. But for now, enjoy the rest of the night and tomorrow. We'll get back to you tomorrow.